Hello, you are listening to On The Topic. Happy New Year. New Year, same me. Still glugging wine and getting names wrong. I'm Dan.
And, well, it's a new year, new season, Dan. We're on season 11 now. You didn't know that. We have seasons. It's season 11, trust me.
Can't keep up.
No, and you're still drunk. And yeah, I'm feeling a bit nostalgic this week because, well, the lapel mics have let us down a little bit.
Yeah.
Bit of buzzing, as you might have heard from last episodes, guys. So we're actually huddled around the old mic, and actually, I quite like it, gazing into your eyes, Dan. It's like old times, isn't it?
Up close and personal.
Yeah, it's lovely. So yeah, we might get a little bit romantic this evening, but there's nothing wrong with that. It's 2023. And hot off the heels of the Christmas or holiday period, as our friends across the pond call it. How have you been, Dan? What have you been up to?
I've been to Ireland, so obviously just before Christmas I had my birthday, where you gave me a very generous birthday Christmas gift.
It has to be done. It's do you want to share your age, or is it just it's just a number? Doesn't matter. It's
just a number. No one needs to know that I'm 37.
No.
Oh, there it is. Spoilers.
But now you've got to enjoy yourself.
Yeah. So PlayStation 4, got Final Fantasy 7 Remake and Spider-Man to play.
Finally got the remake.
Finally.
After talking about it for the last 2.5 years, maybe.
I think I was so angry one episode I said, it doesn't matter anymore. But now actually I've started playing it. It's like...
It makes all the matter, doesn't it?
It's very grown up. It hits the nostalgic parts of me from being... When did I play it? When I was 13, probably.
Right, yeah.
And as an adult, I'm playing like a reimagined version where it's fleshed out and obviously its graphics are a million times better than you could ever imagine. It's phenomenal. And Spider-Man is just as quality.
Spider-Man is a thing of beauty, and the single player is a really great story. There's lots of side quests and stuff, but the single player is great.
We'll dig my teeth in a little bit more. Did struggle, actually, trying to get used to the buttons, but I think now I'm sort of getting into it. It'll be a lot better.
It relies a lot upon muscle memory.
Yeah.
Because for those who haven't played it, you are web swinging through the city, and then you've got the whole traversal mechanics, so you can then kind of... I've forgotten what they call it, but you can effectively then web zip your way to a location, and if you time it properly, you then kind of explode and bounce off that, and you can build your momentum that way. And that's just getting around. And then when you're fighting, you've got to try and remember how to web up weapons, and then grab weapons, and grab people, and put them into the air, and then you unlock... There's lots going on. But yeah, you definitely get into a rhythm of things. It's almost like a rhythm game.
I mean, you level up your attacks and web slinging and
your suits eventually.
Yeah, and then your suits, and you become more powerful. But I'm not anywhere near that yet, Alex. But
plenty of time.
Got plenty to get through, and it's probably a little bit of a spoiler there. But I've got nothing to look forward to in the game world because I'm fulfilling my destiny as we speak.
Oh dear.
But that's fine. Anyway, after Christmas, went to Ireland for 9 to 10 days. Spent some time with my other half's family.
Lovely.
Came home, back to work. So back to the grind, as we say.
It's January. It was eventually going to happen anyway.
On the detox, drinking plenty of H2O, off the beers. I mean, we're still on the wine, right?
Yes, we had to really to do this podcast.
Anyway, Alex, what have you been up to? How's your Christmas, New Year been?
Good. Catch up with friends, family. Just relaxing, really. It's been lovely. Nothing really to report. Just had a long, solid 2.5 weeks off. Very lucky. So yeah,
lovely.
Very relaxing indeed. And whilst I was doing that, of course, I was writing notes for this annual episode that we've got coming up today.
One of my favourites.
It is. What is this week's episode, Dan?
This is Most Anticipated 2023. So we've been doing this since 2019, since the weekly roundup days.
Yep.
So we talk about things that we're looking forward to in the year. So things like films, TV, games, music, books. And since the COVID years, we sometimes get a left field thing from our listeners as well. So it's completely unrelated. So,
and we have got some plenty of listener interaction again this year, haven't we?
We have. And if we sort of harken back to when we did most anticipated 2021, there, see the wine's coming up already.
Get teeth in.
We had a lot of left field stuff, so things that people were looking forward to with the world reopening.
Yes,
and stuff. So we've got one in there this year,
okay,
which is quite nice. It's quite enjoyable. But we'll talk about that in a minute.
And I think, just to piggyback off that, Dan, when I've made my notes, I've looked at it, some of the things I'm going to mention this year, I actually mentioned this time last year.
Yeah.
And they should have landed last year. But actually, I think there's a bigger list, I think, than the last 2 years before combined.
Yeah.
And I wonder whether we're coming out the back of people catching up with the as you say, the post-COVID. I mean, look, COVID's still around, guys and girls, we know that. But I don't know, some countries are, I guess, ignoring it or getting on with it, whatever you want to call it, better than others. And it looks like the entertainment industry, be it the gaming industry, TV, streaming, entertainment, whatever you want, I guess entertainment industry, they don't seem to slow down. It looks like they're back up to speed.
Yeah.
So when I go through this, I think I really struggled to kind of find out what I really wanted to talk about because there's so much. And I wonder whether that's some of it's backlog or actually some of it is greater investment, because now we're seeing more power to TV streaming. Whether they've gone, well, actually, we're going to do less films and more TV stream because it's quicker and it's easier to distribute, more money, more viewers. Or whether it's just a case of it has gone bananas and there's more out there. I don't know, but there's a lot to pick this year.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I mean, I've got probably films alone, I've got 3 main ones, and then I've got 2 honourable mentions. There might even be more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, should we get into it? What do you want to kick off with first? Because we've got quite a few categories.
Let's do films.
Okay. Good.
So, every year we challenge ourselves not to talk about the MCU.
Yes.
And that's fine. But they're going to be on the list anyway.
Okay.
So, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which is due out February 17th, 2023. Obviously, the trailer for that dropped this week at the time of recording.
It did.
Looks very good.
Well, we see everyone's getting all excited about MODOK. And how that harkens back to the first Ant-Man.
Yes.
Now, I don't know how that's going to look. I don't think we should talk about it too much detail in case people haven't picked up on it or they haven't read about it. But I don't know how that will look. Obviously, it's all CGI. It's a floating head, for Christ's sake.
Yeah.
But how the non-CGI part... It's very difficult talking code. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And some listeners know what I'm talking about. But how that is going to look on screen compared to perhaps a human normal face, I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm intrigued because there's a backstory there and we know some of it. So yeah, I don't know. And I've got a theory. I don't think I'm spoiling this because you should watch the trailer, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Where Scott is saying that he doesn't need to win, he just needs them both to lose.
Yeah.
I don't think it's our Scott necessarily.
Oh, so you're thinking multiverse?
Yep.
Could be a thing.
Which could be everything to play for, and conversely, nothing to play for, because he could cark it, but so what? Because there's infinite others that he could... I don't know. It's just... no one's really dead in comics and the MCU.
We know that. I mean, as comic book fans.
So, yeah, I'll put a link in the description below, but I mean, you can Google it, as Dan says. It's been out for a couple of days now, lots of hype. If you want to read up on it, there's loads of breakdown, people done, cell by cell, but it's not too long now, as you say, 17th of Feb.
Yeah, and of course we'll probably do an on-the-go review and a big review.
Yes.
I mean, we'll try and do as many of these as we can, if possible, if time allows.
Well, lapel Mike's willing. I've got to buy some new ones. But...
Oh, I'll put some money in.
No. It's all good in the hood. But yes, we should be more mobile, hopefully, very soon.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, which is out May the 5th, 2023. I know you're not particularly bothered about the Guardians, but...
I'm not.
I'm grabbing my tissues. I'm getting ready.
A lot of people are exiting.
Someone's going to... Well, I'll say someone's going to cark it. Some people could cark it.
I think there's going to be a lot of exits. I think Zoe Saldana has said she's looking forward to ending.
Yeah.
Drax.
Yeah, I mean, Dave Bautista's already said that he can't keep up the fitness levels anymore for that physique.
And I think it's restricting him in terms of the type of roles. I mean, if you look at Glass Onion he's done recently, I think he's really good in that. And he's in the latest M. Night Shyamalan.
He's on the wine as well.
Something in the Cabin. I think it's been announced for coming out next couple of weeks. He looks good in that. I think he wants to diversify, and unfortunately, Marvel lock you into 7, 8, 9 film contracts.
Yeah,
that's easy. Nearly a decade of your life just chewed up on MCU. So I think Dave's out.
Yeah. I mean, if you consider Guardians of the Galaxy came out in 2014, where he was introduced, it is nearly 10 years.
Yeah. And then who's that leave? A couple of voice actors. And then Chris Pratt.
Yeah.
But I mean, he could join any other superhero force, cosmic force.
I mean, there's been several iterations of the Guardians of the Galaxy throughout comic book history.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we might see a completely different team being led by Star-Lord in the future. We just don't know.
Or he just could be, Lone Ranger. You could go it as a mercenary.
He could.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yes, I'm interested to know where it ends up. I'm not chomping at the bit to see it. I will go and see it for obvious reasons. And that's out. When did you say the date was?
5th of May.
Okay, so sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we've got The Marvels, which is due out July the 28th of 2023, which I think is going to be the last Marvel film of the year. But of course, we'll get a load of TV stuff, which we'll talk about shortly.
Mm-hmm.
So, not talking about too much about those, but of course, we'll try and get some on-the-go reviews and big reviews later on in the year.
Oh, yes.
But let's go for the big stuff.
Okay.
Let's kick it off with John Wick Chapter 4, which is due out on March the 24th.
It is. I got this one too.
Fabulous. It's going to be directed by Chad Stahelski.
Oh,
yeah, we've started strongly in 2023. Yeah,
started. You mean to go on?
Yep, absolutely. Starring Keanu Reeves, Lawrence Fishburne, Lance Reddick, Ian McShane, Donnie Yen, Bill Skarsgård, and Hiroyuki Sanada. Oh, for fuck's sake!
Okay,
this is getting ridiculous.
It's happened. Yep.
Chad Stahelski and Keanu Reeves' blockbuster action franchise finally reaches theatres in 2023 after a 2-year delay caused by, a pandemic.
Yep.
We don't know much about the film except that John Wick is at war with, and possibly presumed dead by, the High Table. And Stahelski, that's it, Stahelski, we got there in the end.
That do.
Has gone on record to say that there is a possibility that Chapter 4 will not be a happy ending for our central character.
We have got a little bit of a synopsis. With the price in his head ever increasing, of course, we see that continuing from the last one, which we did a review for. I started to watch it again on, I think it's Prime, is on at the minute. Legendary hitman John Wick takes his fight against the High Table Global as he seeks out the most powerful players in the underworld, from New York to Paris to Japan to Berlin. So he globetrots, killing and severing and dissecting and beheading many, many people. I'm sure there'll be lots of giggles and laughs from us too.
Oh, God.
As was the last one, which was just great.
2019, wasn't it?
Yeah, great fun.
If anyone wants our review, that was from back in the Weekly Roundup days, it is there somewhere in those 75 episodes.
Yeah. It's a great film. And it's on, at the minute, at least in the UK, it's on Prime.
Is it?
Go and catch it now, yeah.
Fabulous. So next up on the film list, I've chosen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Okay, good.
Directed by Joaquim Dos Santos, starring Shameik Moore, Haley Steinfeld, Oscar Isaac, Issa Rae, and it is released on June the 2nd.
Okay.
So the Oscar-winning animated Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse was a big hit with critics and audiences. And Across the Spider-Verse was one of the most anticipated of 2022 until it got moved to this year.
Right, yeah.
Shameik Moore will voice Miles Morales again, with Haley Steinfeld's Gwen Stacy and Oscar Isaac's Miguel O'Hara, aka Spider-Man 2099, joining him. We also know that Issa Rae is set to voice Jessica Drew, which is Spider-Woman.
Yes.
And it's likely that Jake Johnson's Peter Parker will be back as well. Fun fact, I might be dressing up as Peter B. Parker for Portsmouth Comic Con this year.
Oh, cool.
Just going to go, I just need a cheap suit that looks like his. Get a green jacket, get some grey joggers and a boot and
carry around
a trainer.
And carry around a box of donuts or something.
I mean, that's my ideal kind of day.
Yeah, lovely.
Just being a slob. The first trailer didn't give us a whole lot more on the actual story of the film, but it revealed a whole slew of spider characters Miles will come into contact with. And I think if you look at the picture as well, there's you can see Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
You can, yeah.
You can see Tom Holland Spider-Man and Tobey Maguire's. So they might be in it.
Well, I think also Sony's Spider-Man from the game is in it as well. So they're literally, they're bringing everything in here, and I guess all the voice talent and the physical actors on screen are going to be lending their voices. So it's canon, which then brings everything. Yeah, it's bonkers.
Yeah,
it's gonna be fantastic.
It's gonna be good, and plus the animation's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is lovely.
I read somewhere there's gonna be 5 different types of animation in this.
Wow.
So it's gonna be bonkers.
Yeah,
and I love Into the Spider-Verse.
It was so different, and I think on paper it sounded a little bit shit. You know, like a cell shading, and they did it with A Scanner Darkly. Do you remember that kind of that concept film with Keanu Reeves?
Yeah,
it was. It's a very odd film. I think I got it by non-legitimate means, doing a Dan, also known as, and I watched it on the small screen, and I just thought this is weird. It was odd, but I mean that's the live action being cell shaded, whereas this is pure animation with cell shading, and it's wonderful. Like it's colourful, it's vibrant, it pops. It's I'm really looking forward to it. There's nothing else like it. It's very unique, and it just works well for this character.
Yeah, I mean, if you remove the Tom Holland films, which of course were done with Kevin Feige and the MCU, it might be the best thing they've churned out regarding Spider-Man.
Yeah, by far, Sony are making bank from this.
And that's probably why they won't ever release Spider-Man to the higher gods, so to speak. What's next on your list? Did that not make your list?
It made an honourable mention.
Because
I think I hedged my bets down this year. Because listeners, again, this year we haven't conversed. We haven't said what we've got on our lists. So we are hearing it for the first time.
We are.
Along with yourselves. I've mixed up here cinema film releases and streaming film releases.
Yeah.
Because I think I probably should have talked to you about that beforehand. But that's because actually they're hand in hand now. Because some of the big releases, say for instance Glass Onion, I know that was maybe a limited run, maybe 2 weeks before it came out. On Netflix, it was out in cinemas, select cinemas. I wasn't nationwide in all cinemas, so it sometimes is a bigger release on streaming. So that's why I've mixed them. I did have John Wick. We talked about that one. Next one up is Netflix, and it's called You People.
Okay.
Have you heard this one before?
No, not
the trailer is hilarious. It is phenomenal. It's due out, well, just in a couple of weeks actually of recording, 27th of Jan. And the synopsis says, a new couple and their families reckon with modern love amid culture clashes, societal expectations, and generational differences. That stars Eddie Murphy, Jonah Hill, Lauren London, David Duchovny, and many others. And the premise is there's a white guy who falls in love with an African-American woman, and they've got very, I guess, traditional, stereotypical typecasted families, and the expectations of how white dudes should be, and then how a black family might be, and what, you know, stigma, and it says their cultural differences, and some of it is, you know, like tongue-in-cheek, borderline acknowledgement of racist stereotypes, and some of it's poking fun at just how stupid it is, and actually how similar. There's probably a good number of moral stories to it, but if it's a Jonah Hill film, it's going to be brilliant, and he is. And I'm not doing it justice, but it's made my list because it's different. It's left field. I like to throw left fields out on this one.
You do.
And this one looks so good. I was literally laughing out loud watching the trailer, and I don't do that. I think the last time I made audible sounds was probably during John Wick 3.
Yeah, I think we were both laughing at that.
And we shouldn't have done, and I had tears streaming down my face, and I think you did too, for the wrong reasons. This looks great, You People. So You People's on Netflix, a couple of weeks, 27th of Jan. Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1.
That did make my list. which is odd because I never liked the Mission Impossible films until October, November last year.
You did, yeah.
Yeah.
You binge.
Did a binge watch and I actually loved them. Found that, Tom Cruise is actually quite good. And
Annoyingly.
And some of the stunts he's doing, like I think it was Mission Impossible 4, where he's like just dangling off the Burj Khalifa. What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
You nutter. He does his own stunts.
He does.
Broke his ankles in Mission Impossible 6.
Yeah, and in this one, I saw behind the scenes. I mean, the hype train's well and truly building momentum, and he threw himself off a mountain about 250 times on the back of a motorbike with a parachute.
Isn't he like in his late 40s, early 50s now?
Early 50s. I think he's 52.
Jesus.
The guy's a machine. Well, that machine is well and truly kicking off on the 14th of July this year, Dan, isn't he?
Yes.
It's a summer blockbuster. Part 1 is it says here, an upcoming American action spy film written, produced and directed by Christopher McQuarrie. I think he's done the last couple. The sequel to Mission Impossible Fallout, and it's the 7th instalment in the Mission Impossible film series. That's all we've got so far.
Yeah.
But we know it's globe-trotting, and we have some familiar faces in there as well, don't we, Dan?
We do. So we've got Tom Cruise, of course, Rebecca Ferguson, Simon Pegg, Ving Rhames, Vanessa Kirby, Henry Czerny, Hayley Atwell.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Hayley Atwell. Pom Klementieff, who plays Mantis in Guardians of the Galaxy. She's going to be in this.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you those, because you looked at me with a knowing look, and I didn't know who that was.
Shea Wiggum and S.A. Morales. This was the slot originally reserved for Mission Impossible 8. But with COVID being what it is, we're now getting Mission Impossible 7 in 2023 and Mission Impossible 8 in 2024.
Yeah, they did back-to-back film, didn't they?
Yes, they did. And of course, we've got the infamous Tom Cruise rant, which I think we talked about.
Oh, it was on June. Yeah.
Where he was swearing at people for not socially distancing or wearing masks. Kind of can't blame him, because didn't it get shut down for a while because of
COVID
cases? Yeah. So listen to Tom Cruise, ladies and gentlemen.
He knows his
means his business. Did you know he's been playing Ethan Hunt for a whopping 27 years?
Yeah, 96 was the first one.
Yeah.
I remember it coming out of school. Makes me feel old now.
Seeing him just age like a fine wine as you go through the 6 films is pretty phenomenal.
But you know how you see some of those kind of films, and they're quite rare these days, well, unless you look at the Fast stuff, and I do mention Fast and Furious in a minute, but not in great detail. You look at them and go, yeah, that was like a film of its time, but now it looks wrong. If you go back, and you have actually recently, haven't you? And hopefully what I'm going to say, you're going to nod, but we'll see. You don't have to. They are a film of their time with the CGI or the storyline or the things they say, but all of these films still kind of hold up. They kind of got a timeless aspect to it, don't they? Because if you watch the first one, it's a bit grainy and it's a bit wooden in places.
I mean, it's a 90s film, right?
But you can still enjoy it, whereas you watch some 90s films now and go, yeah, this is crap.
Yeah.
And no doubt it wasn't great then, but there's an aspect of timelessness to his films, I find. And I don't know why that is, but he's done something, and you can enjoy it no matter when. You don't really notice that difference.
Do you think it's because there isn't a great deal of CGI chucked into this?
Yeah. That's true.
They say he does his own stunts. He's hanging off near the top of the Burj Khalifa. I was like, I could feel my stomach going.
We did it on the was it the transport carrier in the beginning of the last film, where he's on the side of the plane, and they're like, oh no, we can just CGI on. He's like, no chance. No, I'm doing this. And they said, well, you don't have to, Tom. He's like, I know, but the audience will know different. I'm not convinced we would, but hey, he's a perfectionist. Yeah, you're right. Actually, perhaps that hasn't dated him because actually he does all of the physical stunts.
Yeah. And I know you were talking about the graininess of the first one. I was probably so engrossed.
Storyline's really good, though, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't even think I would have noticed, to be honest.
That's a proper kind of spy caper, isn't it?
I'm quite annoyed that I'm enjoying Tom Cruise films now.
Yeah.
I should probably watch Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick now, shouldn't I?
You ever see Top Gun?
Well, I have. Top Gun years ago.
Yeah. Maverick's really good, actually. I didn't want to enjoy that, but again, it's one of those ones where he took due to COVID again, years and years to be able to perfect, and it is a great film. But Miles Teller, I think, almost steals the show, and that's why I was quite pleased about, because it's not just a Tom Cruise show. Actually, Miles Teller's phenomenal. So there's someone else who can actually go toe to toe with him on the screen.
Crikey. So I'm on to honourable mentions.
Okay.
Bit of a left field one. I've chosen Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves.
Okay.
It's directed by John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, starring Chris Pine, Hugh Grant, Regé-Jean Page, I hope I've done that justice, Michelle Rodriguez and Sophia Lillis-Smith, and it's due out on March the 31st. The popular role-playing game gets a shiny reboot. Here we go, another reboot. But from what I've seen from the trailer, it actually looks quite good.
Yeah, I mean, if you're not familiar with Dungeons and Dragons, I think it could be a standalone film.
It was a cartoon when we were kids as well, right? I'm sure.
I think so, but I don't think I'd ever seen it.
It wasn't great.
Oh.
But I think if it was on, I'd watch it. But
okay.
It was no X-Men or Spider-Man,
Do you remember M.A.S.K?
Yeah.
M.A.S.K. I don't even remember the theme, just how long it's been. But whenever that rarely came on my TV, because I don't think it was on terrestrial TV. Channels 1 to 4 when we were restricted by just a couple of channels.
You had to get cable, and I'm sure that was like dodgy. 9X. Yeah. That was the thing. 9X. That's what it was called before it went to Virgin Media.
Oh, right, was it?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. No, never had cable in our household. But I think it was on there, and I think I watched it around some friends, and I loved it. Oh, there were simpler days, weren't there?
He's getting all nostalgic.
All nostalgic.
Directors John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, and an all-star cast that includes Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, blah, 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 and more. So yeah, I don't know why I had to mention that. That was in my notes.
Okay,
but not much to mention there. But so that's why it makes an honourable mention.
Okay. Well, Dan, I've got, and I mentioned this. I smile. 2019's episode.
Yeah.
We called it left field then. It's a left field now. It's the Meg 2.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah, good film.
It's a really good film.
It's cheesy. It's ridiculous.
It's unapologetic, but it's good, right?
And I can't tell if Jason Statham's a Yank or if he's a Londoner.
Yeah, it's confusing. But the premise... Okay, yeah, if you look past the whole gigantic, long thought to be prehistoric shark, but it's an interesting premise. In the Mariana Trench there is a toxic cloud which life cannot permeate, but they have done, and there's a whole ecosystem closely in the crust, blah 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 blah, and because they've shoved something down there, they've broken the seal, whatever it is. And again, it sounds bad when I'm saying it out loud, and it probably is. But it was such an enjoyable monster thriller, wasn't it? Lots of explosions, chomping through ships, people.
Yeah. There's a terrifying moment actually in the first one I always sort of harken back to when I talk to people about the Meg. It's when the kid is stood in that sort of bubble window.
This is prime thalassophobia right here.
Literally behind her, you see the Meg just come up and it just bites the glass.
Dong.
And then the kid screams, and of course everyone's like running to see if she's all right.
Another one will screw you up if you do have thalassophobia, which is difficult for me to say at this time of the evening of recording, for no other reason than it's probably been a long work day. Have you seen Underwater yet?
No.
That is great. And there's a particular scene where all the main characters are traversing between. It's almost like It'll Come to Me. It's the water alien. Anyway, it's a bit like that, and they have to go from one underwater station to another on the seabed floor, and the lights turn off, and there's things around them swimming and whooshing, and it's...
Yeah, I'm already starting to get nightmares.
It's horrible. Quite a great film. Kristen
Stewart?
Kristen Stewart, that's the one. She's the lead, and I think she does quite a good job. She hasn't been in too much since the whole kind of Patterson fallout. I think she took quite a hit with her infidelity. the director on the film she's working on. But she's back into the mainstream, and she's doing quite well. And that's a really good film. But anyway, digression as we always do. The Meg 2, out the 4th of August. It's called The Trench. Meg 2, The Trench. It says here is an upcoming science fiction action film directed by Ben Wheatley with a screenplay by Dean Georgiari and John and Eric Huber, based on the 1999 book The Trench by Steve Alton. Now, apparently serving as a sequel to the 2018 film The Meg. The film again stars Jason Statham, Sienna Guillory and Cliff Curtis. A good, simple summer thriller to be coming out. I'm looking forward to that one. And then I've got one last streaming film, Dan.
Yep.
Before I have a couple of honourable mentions. This will have a limited release at the cinemas, but primarily streaming to Netflix. Is Luther.
Oh, do you know what? They've teased it. I don't know how I missed this one, but I love Luther. Very
Idris Elba. I mean, I want these babies.
Very gritty. And I've already told my other half, I mean, I don't think she'll come back for this, is Ruth Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh.
But again, people were never really dead in that programme either.
No. And we think Ruth Wilson's carked it, but I don't think she has. But we don't know.
Well, Lisa was supposed to have died twice over.
Yeah, true.
The synopsis: a serial killer terrorises London while disgraced detective John Luther sits behind bars. Haunted by his failure to capture the cyber psychopath who now taunts him, Luther decides to break out of prison to finish the job by any means necessary. Idris Elba, Andy Serkis, Cynthia Erivo and Paul McGann returns.
Andy Serkis.
You know it's going to be good if Andy's in it.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to be doing, but I mean, he's not always... Most of the time he is CGI'd or animatronics or whatever you want to call it, but...
Gollum.
It doesn't have to be.
No.
He's not an ape this time in, the Planet of the Apes, and he's in that. He's not Gollum. He's not the baddie in... Is it Snoke? Is he Snoke? Emperor Snoke in Star Wars? I think he is.
He was Ulysses Claw in the MCU.
Yeah. Which is of himself, not done up. So, let's see.
Phenomenal actor.
Yeah. March. We haven't got a particular date, but March. So we're not long now. I'm looking forward to it, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a while since I wrapped up on Luther. Must have been a binge back in 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a while. Looking forward to that one.
There we go.
Love a bit of Idris. My last honourable mention goes to the Super Mario Brothers movie due out this year.
Okay.
April 7th, directed by Aaron Horvath and Michael Jelenic. Starring, of course, the controversial Chris Pratt, Anya Taylor-Joy, Jack Black as King Koopa, Charlie Day, Seth Rogen, Fred Armisen, and Keegan-Michael Key. The big screen adaptation of the iconic Nintendo character and his friends is being produced by Chris Meledandri. Done that one justice. Come on. Of Illumination, the studio that made Despicable Me.
Yes.
And the creator of Mario himself, Shigeru Miyamoto. There we go. Got there. Chris Pratt is voicing the famous Goomba stomping plumber who arrives in Mushroom Kingdom and meets Keegan-Michael Key's Toad. Anya Taylor-Joy is also on board as Princess Peach, while Jack Black and Seth Rogen will voice Bowser and Donkey Kong, respectively, right. And Charlie Day will play Luigi.
Of course, Donkey Kong was... I wouldn't go as far as say as a baddie when he first made his debut on Nintendo, but he wasn't a goodie. He was throwing barrels down as you were climbing skyscrapers and buildings.
Proper NES game, that one.
But so the latter Donkey Kong Worlds were phenomenal. They were my favourite games on Game Boy.
A lot of uproar around Chris Pratt being Mario. Some people want a proper Italian. Some people were defending Chris Pratt.
I think he's fine. The trailer, I think, is on point. By the animation would be with Illumination. They're a great studio. I think it works. Jack Black being Bowser, I mean, mind blowing. It's such a great casting. So I didn't want to. I'm not a particular fan of Chris Pratt, but I think he's going to do a great job.
I think you will. And I'd love to do an impression of Mario, but I'm in fear of waking up your nipper next door. So
Yeah, don't do that.
I'll save that for another time.
Please don't. I've got old one mentions, just a couple. The Old Guard 2, Netflix.
Yep.
Charlize Theron.
Oh, I love a bit of Charlize Theron.
It's a mediocre first film, but obviously it got enough attention that they're going to do a second, so I'm looking forward to that. You've got Denzel's Equalizer. He's back for a third outing. Yeah. It's about the hitman. Have you seen that one?
I haven't, but a lot of people have told me to watch it.
Brilliant.
So I do need to get on board. Isn't he like basically a John Wick?
An older John Wick.
Older John Wick.
Yeah. Got, allegedly, and some of this we've got to have a pinch of salt because it may not come off this year, but Kraven the Hunter.
Oh, Aaron Taylor-Johnson? Yeah.
Which is supposed to be a Spidey spin-off.
We'll see. I mean, Morbius was all right. Let's be honest.
I don't mind it.
I thought it was okay.
People mock it. I think Leto did a good job. I think it was poorly edited. I think that was the main problem in the final third of the film. It kind of picked up too much speed almost too quickly, but I don't think the acting was bad. No. I don't think the story had any issues. I think it all came around. The twist was obvious. Let's see what happens on that one. But yeah, Kraven the Hunter apparently is this year, but we'll see. Some things do get put back. The rest of the Marvels I've got here. I've got the Fast and Furious 10, or called Fast 10. Yeah. Which apparently I think is never always the last, but it's Vin Diesel's baby. I think he even comes out of his production company. And it's the 10th. Yeah. So I think everyone's back for that and more. So God knows how much that's going to cost. We've got a film called Cocaine Bear. Dan.
Oh, I've seen this advertised.
Based on a true story. Apparently a bear, I want to say South America, it might be North America, but either way, comes across a van full of the white stuff, ends up devouring so much that goes on a rampage, but for hours and hours. And that's why you don't give cocaine to a fucking predator.
Talking of predators and dangerous things, have you seen the YouTube video of a monkey with an AK-47?
No.
Highly recommend you YouTube that one.
Okay. Is the monkey okay in the end?
Oh, the monkey's fine. I can't talk about the people on looking.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, check that one out.
Okay.
Recommendation of the day or of the pod. There you go.
But probably not safe for work, I guess.
No.
Okay. So after Cocaine Bear, I don't know where you go from there, but we're going to go, Spider-Man Across the Multiverse. We talked about that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Indiana 5.
Yeah.
Dial of Destiny.
After the travesty of number 4, I'm not sure I'm interested.
Yeah. And I think I'm somewhere there. I'm not sure if I'll quite flock to the cinema to see it, but I do love Indiana Jones. Harrison Ford is a little bit long in the tooth. It's just a fact. I'm not, disparaging of older actors, and I know they do get some stick in Hollywood. They get typecast and put to one side. I think he's a great actor. I just think for what the character requires, I don't think he can do it now. It's unfair. He's in the 70s. To demand that. He's not Tom Cruise.
No.
So Tom Cruise will be doing it till day he dies, really. But,
oh, yeah, probably. It'd be like us working until the day we die and we'll be at our desks and we're being prodded.
Yeah.
Dan, you still alive, mate? No, I think he's dead.
Winning the next one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know, we'll see. And then there's Extraction 2.
Oh, yeah, of course. That came out during the very early stages of COVID, didn't it? And I remember us talking about the one-shot sequence, which is absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, through the market and the house.
And of course, it left you sort of guessing at the end whether Chris Hemsworth's character was dead or alive.
He twitched. So yes, he's pretty much alive, and there's a snowy aspect to it. So let's see what happens to our favourite mercenary.
An absolute grit bomb. I think we probably would have reviewed Extraction, but I think we were trying to work out logistics and how we got around doing the pod. But we got there.
We did. So those are films.
Television. Right, Alex, obviously the obvious ones. Let's talk about the MCU. We've got Secret Invasion, Ironheart, Echo, Loki Season 2 and Agatha Coven of Chaos, all on Disney+.
Yeah.
All to be announced with dates. I've got Loki season 2, which is due around the summer, and then Agfa during the winter. And I can't imagine the former three are probably far off from being released soon. Looking forward to Loki season 2. I thought season 1 was fantastic.
And of course, they have a direct either influence on Quantum Mania, or it'll deal with the fallout. Where, you know, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. had that in phases 1 to 2, Feige never acknowledges the existence of the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., at least at the moment.
No.
So we'll see whether or not they do in the future. But yeah, this will be the first time that it crosses the medium in a meaningful way, because all of the streaming at the minute are looking at Blip.
Yeah,
this is post Blip, so yeah, it'd be interesting to see that play out.
I think things are going to kick off in Phase 5. I think it's going to pick up really from. We've talked about before, you know, Phase 4, which was quite cluttered, and we didn't really know what direction they were taking it.
It's all about Wong.
Of course it is.
I'm telling you.
And I'm going to tell you as well, it's all about the weapons that they place throughout some of these films. Because Kang likes a good weapon.
If I could put money, if there was a bookies that would take my money, I'd put a lot down on Wong being the baddie, the inside, the double agent. He's in everything.
We'll have to find a bookies, Alex.
He's got no right to be in these things, and yet he is.
Yeah, he's just rocking up all over the gaff. Shang-Chi, She-Hulk, Spider-Man.
He's in all of it, and as I say, he doesn't belong there. No. Telling you.
So they're the obvious ones.
Yes.
Obviously, we'll talk about more of those later in the year. But my first choice, The Mandalorian, Season 3.
Okay,
which will be out on Disney Plus on the 1st of March. Jon Favreau's The Mandalorian returns, finally. Last time we saw the helmeted hero, played by Pedro Pascal, was during a mini-arc on The Book of Boba Fett at the beginning of 2022. Haven't watched it yet.
No, same. Mean to, though. Not any other reason than I've got quite a back catalogue.
Yeah, same. I'm still watching Wednesday, actually, on Netflix.
Come on, Dan. Finish it off. It's fantastic.
I didn't really get a chance, because we started watching it in the lead up to Christmas, and of course you get to the Christmas weeks, and you're like, right, I need to watch all my Christmas films. Yeah. Exactly. You know me too well.
I watched The Holiday again this year, and I make no regrets. It's great. It's like watching it for the first time. Not quite, but it's great.
Anything else on your Christmas list? I watched Arthur Christmas. We talked about this in the Christmas Cracker, I think. Home Alone, of course. Die Hard was the big one.
Well, my son watched... he's into Shaun the Sheep at the minute and the Aardman animations. So that really goes back to our childhood. You know, like The Wrong Trousers, Grand Day Out, you know, Wallace and Gromit.
Fantastic.
And I think it was last year they did a... So 2021 as opposed to 22, they did a Shaun the Sheep Christmas edition short film. And it's really good. So if people are into kids films in a non-creepy way, because that does sound creepy, but if you know what I mean, or one to watch with the family, it'll still be available on Netflix. I can highly recommend it. It's really great fun. Made by Aardman, and yeah, it's all about Shaun the Sheep during Christmas.
Oh, wonderful.
Didn't expect to enjoy it. He's watched it about 20 times, and I listen in and out when I'm not flicking on my phone, which I'm a terrible human being. But when I have watched it all the way through, I really enjoyed it.
Good stuff. Obviously, we've digressed a little bit, but then, as Alex said earlier, it's nothing unusual here.
No.
So the last proper season of The Mandalorian concluded all the way back in the end of December 2020. A brief teaser promises the return of Amy Sedaris' character, Thank the Maker. A trip to Mandalore and some more drama with Bo-Katan Kryze, played by Katie Sackhoff. Bryce Dallas Howard, Rick Famuyui.
Come again?
That one. I'm just not going to bother. And co-star Carl Weathers directs new episodes, and guest stars scheduled to appear in the season include Tim Meadows and Christopher Lloyd.
Strong talent.
Christopher Lloyd, big fan. Obviously, Back to the Future.
Yeah. Well, of also Star Trek fame.
Yes.
Lesser known. Yeah. Nice to see him back on our screens.
Yeah, 100%. So that's my first choice. Have you got any for TV, Alex?
I've got loads.
Let's go between.
Okay.
Let's fill the space. I've only got 3, but
Okay.
I mean, you might have some that.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I wanted to add really as a overall, I'll show you the figures here, Dan. There's a breakdown of original content released by the platform, and this is Amazon Prime, Apple, Discovery, Disney, HBO Max, Hulu, Netflix, Paramount Plus, and Peacock. Now we don't have all those in the UK, and there's Europe, and some of them we've only had in the last 9 months or so. And this graph I've got in front of me, which I appreciate this and you can't see, but I'll bring out the main points, is all about how much they've released over the last 4 years in terms of content. And there's a lovely coloured graph, stack graph, to show you what each of those channels are releasing. By far, I mean, Netflix have increased significantly their volume that have released, as has Hulu, and Apple TV Plus. Disney have reduced. Disney's increased, but shall I say, Discovery Plus has reduced, HBO Max has reduced, and so has Peacock. Paramount Plus has roughly stayed the same, and so has Amazon Prime. So it's just kind of an indication about actually who's really putting their money where their mouth is and actually churning out more things. And I think we're only going to expect to see more from those big players. I mean, Disney Plus, you've already reeled off a couple. There's going to be lots more, and with their Star program platform, where they've amalgamated and other programs and box sets that aren't necessarily Disney or Marvel, I only see it going to be increasing.
Yeah, I mean, they had a couple of good things on there last year, which me and my other half watched. I can't remember the names of them, but when you're reeling it off, I'll try and have a look, see what one of the ones that I watched. It was quite dark, actually. It was based on a true story. Obviously, sort of about painkillers in America. Oh yeah, I'll find that out in a second while you're going through your first one.
But yeah, so yeah, it's just interesting to see how it progresses. But I mean, overall, on prior year we had less original content, but at least 120 shows. I wonder whether we'll see an uptick as we see that backlog of the writers' delay and production delay from COVID, so we'll see. But it's an interesting read. I'll try and find a link and pop it in the description below.
It was called Dope Sick.
Yes.
It has got Michael Keaton in it.
It does, yeah.
So wonderful, absolutely fantastic. Acting's on point. But yes, it's worth a watch. It's quite heavy. It's very bleak. Definitely check that one out.
As you've gone through Disney Plus, I'll just add a couple more. Secret Invasion, I think you mentioned. Yep. Spring. We haven't got a particular date at the time of recording, I don't think. But the synopsis is a faction of shape-shifting aliens, which you've seen before. The Skrulls in the Marvel film, Miss Marvel, have infiltrated all aspects of life on Earth. But for how long, we don't know. Nope. And who they've got, we don't know. And that's based on one of my favourite comic book arcs of all time.
Oh, it's phenomenal.
It's great. So and because they've been in the Marvel universe for so long, some of the key events have been influenced by these players. It's interesting to see how much and for how long they've been around. I suspect before Phase 1.
Yeah.
And that might be quite cool, because then we can see some almost like prequel films coming from that.
Because I can't remember when Captain Marvel was set. Was it 94? It was like the 90s.
Yeah.
So if you think Skrulls were introduced in the 90s...
But it could have been beforehand, because they knew of Earth. Yeah. Then that stars Kingsley Benadir, Olivia Colman, Emilia Clarke, Don Cheadle, Martin Freeman, Samuel Jackson, and many others. I'm really looking forward to that, because I think it's going to be almost the Winter Soldier-esque. I think it's going to be great.
Yeah. It's got that vibe about it from the trailer.
Yeah, a who to trust kind of thing, which I think is going to be great. And the second one from Disney Plus, aside from all the ones you mentioned, is one called The Extraordinary. You heard about this one?
Rings a bell. Might have just jog my memory.
There's a great trailer. It's going to be released under ABC and Hulu in the US, but over here it's going to be Disney, or I guess the Star program. It is this month in January, so just around the corner. The premise is, 10 years ago, everyone over the age of 18 got their superpower.
Ooh.
But Jen, a painfully self-aware 25-year-old woman, is still waiting to get hers. She'd take anything at this point. Adrift in a big, confusing world and armed with nothing but a bit of hope, a lot of desperation, and her flatmates, Jen begins her journey to find her maybe superpower.
Sold.
So effectively, the whole world has got powers, and she's a normie.
Jesus,
so
just
actually,
like
the
me
whole
and you.
exactly, and the whole thing is flipped in its head.
That's incredible.
It's quite an interesting
Genius.
concept, right? So yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. It's called Extraordinary. Just around the corner during the course of this month. And for those in Europe and UK, it's Disney Plus.
Fabulous. I'll jump on board with that. So I'm going to jump onto Netflix. The Witcher Season 3, which is to be announced, but due roughly summer 2023.
The Liam Hemsworth?
No, it's
the last one with Cavill, isn't it?
Yeah, it'll be his last hurrah.
Yeah.
Based on the fantasy series of the same name by Polish writer Andrzej Sapkowski, The Witcher tells the story of its namesake, the Witcher or magically enhanced monster hunter Geralt of Rivia, originally played by Henry Cavill. And this will, of course, mark Cavill's last with the show, with Liam Hemsworth set to take over as the titular Witcher. Bit disappointed that it's going to be Cavill's last outing. I wonder if they've sort of digressed away from the actual plot, because he always said, "I will only do it if you stick to the material."
Yeah, and that's what the going theory is.
And of course, poor Henry Cavill was supposed to go back to DC and be Superman, but actually, James Gunn had different ideas, and I think he's going to reboot the whole thing.
Oh, he's torn it up. But it hasn't been The Flash yet.
No.
Which is incredibly odd. So it's got to be a financial thing. There must be so much money tied up in it because Ezra
Miller,
he's bonkers.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, quite what he's doing, I don't know. But yeah, he's under a number of different charges in America for a number of different offences. The guy needs some serious support and the mental health assistance.
And we can only hope he gets it. And
I mean,
does.
People are laughing at this, but it's clearly someone who's in a lot of pain and suffering. It's just a shame that people closer to him haven't intervened before now. That's easy for us to say. Maybe they have. I don't know. But either way, he's been going on this uncontrolled, seemingly rampage for a while, and it hasn't done his career any favours. But the film's still going to be released.
I mean, there's always a way back for people that are
Downey Jr.
Exactly.
Look at his success story. So, yeah, it can happen.
So yeah, that's it from me from Netflix.
I got 2.
Ooh.
Kaleidoscope, released this year, beginning of Jan. Heard about this one?
No.
Stars Giancarlo Esposito, and he's in Breaking Bad. And in this one, he sets up a heist. And it's a bit of a gimmick because it's filmed and it'll be released to you in a particular order because it's a multi-episode arc. And I think it starts off with 3 weeks before, and then you go into the heist, and it's 3 months before, and then it's 2 months after, and it's 2 years before, and it flips around. And you can watch it apparently in any order, and if you do it in a particular order, it'll give you a particular spin on the story. So if you do it one, it's a particular, traditional heist film. Do it another one, it's a detective story, and if you do it another one, it's a thriller. I don't know if it's quite going to work out the way which Netflix intend. I am enjoying it though. It's very well written and it's great fun to watch. And I'm watching it in such a way that is done from a detective film.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of build up, a couple of years before, backstory. You already see their setup. I haven't seen the heist just yet, but something goes wrong. So we'll see exactly what happens. Sounds like almost like a Tarantino-esque type job, but that looks really good. That's on Netflix at the moment.
I'll have to check that out.
It looks great. But that's called Kaleidoscope. And then the last one for me from Netflix, and I mentioned this last year, and even potentially down the year before, is Lupin Season 3. Yeah,
you talk about Lupin a lot. I've put it on my to-watch list.
It was due out last year. They haven't made any announcements. And that autumn or the fall for our US listeners has come and gone. So where it is, I don't know. We have no updates. That stars M.A.S.K as the character of Lupin.
Yeah.
Mr. Diop. No, I mean that's Babacar Diop. I mean, let's see what happens. I hope it's this year because they've already filmed it. They've already done post-production. perhaps they're just waiting for the big guns to be out of the way. But it's such a good programme. I just can't wait for it to come out. So yeah, I'm still waiting. But that one was on my list from last year.
Wonderful. Last one from me. Ted Lasso Season 3 on Apple TV.
I did see that.
To be announced. Ted Lasso's second season left viewers with a lot of questions, not just about the fate of AFC Richmond, but about the relationships between its players and the people who make the whole operation run. The prospect of seeing Nick Mohammed's Nate the Great level up to full Darth Vader mode in what may very likely be Ted Lasso's third and final season will be worth the price of admission alone. I love Ted Lasso. I could probably binge watch seasons 1 and 2 all over again. It's just fantastic.
You've been sightseeing recently, haven't you?
I have. So it was in September. Me and my other half were on our way up to London. And the park run she was originally going to do, so my missus, if you haven't listened to previous episodes, loves to run. She does marathons and all sorts of stuff. And park run's her main thing. So we went up to London. This park run gets cancelled, so we went to one near Richmond. So we went and found the pub that is famous for Ted Lasso. And the letterboxes, the telephone boxes outside.
Legit.
It is legit, yeah. It's good stuff. But if you haven't seen Ted Lasso, highly recommend. It's not just about football, but there's a lot of, character building. It's very heartwarming, and to me, I suppose it's almost like the football version of Sex Education.
Yep.
Have you seen it, Alex?
You've kindly supplied me with the goods. I just haven't got around to watching it yet.
That's fine.
But I must do before the latest season comes out, so we can talk about it together.
It's wonderful.
Yeah.
Could be an episode for the future.
Most definitely.
But I'll say that is my last of the TV series.
I have got one more and then some honourable mentions.
Yep.
Amazon Prime. The Continental. In the US, it's a Peacock service release. The Continental will expand the John Wick franchise to TV.
Interesting. Yes.
Doesn't include Keanu Reeves, but he might make an appearance, you never know. With a 3-part special event focusing on the titular hotel for assassins. So the Continental, as we now found in the second film and subsequently the third, is that the Continental isn't just one hotel, it's almost like a franchise.
Yeah.
It's a safe house, a safe haven for all the assassins in between their jobs.
Because if I recall, the one in New York's the Flatiron Building, but they've kind of mocked it up even more, haven't they, to look different. I'm sure it's higher than the real life.
I think it is, yeah.
Flatiron.
And I think we saw one in was it Marrakesh in the last film, and there's been others. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that organisation supports the assassin underworld. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That should be good. We haven't got a release date on it, but it is due to be released this year. It'll probably be the summer, as a guess, to give way for the film. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's on Prime. Now, honourable mentions, just a couple. HBO Max or Sky Atlantic here in the UK is going to be The Last of Us. That's out very soon, mere days, I think, now. So been trailers all over the place at the moment. It has relatively good reviews, all about the PlayStation game. And Amazon Prime, Gen V, which is set in the Boys universe. Okay. And it's all about a school of superheroes, the next generation of superheroes, or the 8 in Vought, and they're trained at this university. And it's Generation V. And apparently it's a different tone, but of a similar ilk. So it's going to be gory, bloody, quite dark. Of course. But comedic. Everything you expect from the Boys. Indeed. So I'm looking forward to that one, actually. That's going to be on Amazon Prime. I still haven't finished season 3 of The Boys. The first episode really put me off. In fact, talking about The Boys, the writer has said season 4 has got one of the most disgusting things to date. So I don't know what that means. Leave that to your imagination. I'm sure once we see it, it will make sense. Well, the orgy in season 3 was quite bad enough. You haven't seen that yet, but it's I mean, I've already seen the first episode, and there was a little man crawling into a penis, and then he sneezes, Yep.
And I'll leave that to your imagination.
Yum. Is that it for TV streaming?
That is it for TV streaming. But you've got some games and I've got some music. Which one should we head up to next?
Should we go for gaming?
Yep, let's do gaming.
Because I've got gaming and then you've got music.
Yep.
And then we round off
with the listener.
I'll rattle through these. I've got quite a few.
Okay. At the start of the episode, I haven't actually got any games this year.
That's fine.
I say, fulfilling my destiny with the games that I'd actually been anticipating back in 2019, 2020. So here we are.
I've got you. Well, we're going to go with some of the big leagues. Kicking us off in just a couple of weeks, due for a February release early, is Hogwarts Legacy. Yeah,
that was on our list last year.
Yeah.
Didn't come out. It got pushed back.
Due out in Christmas. They need a little bit more polish. It has been relisted on Steam, and Steam often gets lists early, before other retailers or websites. Some people are hoping that it's not going to be pushed back even further. They're doing lots of gameplay footage and the usual run-up promo, which would indicate that it's still going to be a February release, because you don't show that much and then go, we're now delayed by another 6 months.
Yeah.
It does happen, but at the minute, all signs still point for about 5-6 weeks away. So fingers crossed it stays that way. Hogwarts Legacy, if you haven't heard of it, is an upcoming action role-playing game developed by Avalanche Software and published by Warner Brothers Interactive Entertainment under its Portkey Games label. The game is set in the Wizarding World universe, early 19th century, based on the Harry Potter novels and film series, including Fantastic Beasts. The reason why you, Dan, and our listeners should be interested in this one, because you're following a school year of an avatar you make. You can choose any house you want to be in, so you're sorted at the beginning of the year. You can fit out your own common room. So if you like, spending hours of customization, you can do it. You've then got your room of requirement, where you store all of your stuff from the missions and the storyline in there. And again, you can design that, everything.
Fantastic.
And then you've got it looks like a bit like an inside glass house, an aviary, and in there is where you store all of the animals that you come across that you want to look after from the Wizarding World inside. So they've kind of combined both of those franchises, but ultimately the Wizarding World into one game. And then you then got voice talent of Simon Pegg, who's going to be
phenomenal,
the Headmaster Black, and you've got all the other teachers. You've got the ghosts, you've got the lessons, you've got the open world apparently is massive. You've got broomsticks, you've got courtyard games, you got it all, and it looks promising. They've spent a long time on this, and I think if they do this could be phenomenal. So I've got lots of hope in this, and I think a lot of people have too.
I know a lot of people moaned when it did get pushed back, but would you rather have a better, refined, polished game, or would you rather play one that's just honking?
Well,
Avengers,
Yeah. Well, let's go on to that. That's a good thread to put on, Dan, because actually you've got the Suicide Squad kill the Justice League. Do you see the gameplay footage or the cinematic footage on that one?
No, but I heard again people complaining because it's only like 60 frames per second.
Yeah, but it's better than some games which are locked in even lower than that. I mean, this one has been delayed. It's due out this year. We don't know when though. We haven't got an actual window.
Say Hogwarts and the one Suicide Squad was supposed to be out last year, weren't they?
Yeah.
And I think Suicide Squad again got a bit of flack because they're only releasing it on the next gen consoles.
They are, yeah. They're locking into latest gen. Well, it's apparently a genre-bending action-adventure game set in an open world based in Metropolis. The game features 4 playable characters: Captain Boomerang, Deadshot, Harley Quinn, and King Shark. While it can be played solo, the game also features a 4-player co-op multiplayer mode. When playing solo, players can switch between characters at will, so I guess a bit like games such as, Grand Theft Auto, other way you can go between them. While the other characters are controlled by AI. And this is all about a mind-controlling baddie who takes over the Justice League, and you've got to kill them because they're too powerful, and obviously they're holding them well to ransom. Now, this was delayed, as we mentioned before, but there has been plenty of controversy by titles, as you mentioned, Dan, CD Projekt Red Cyberpunk. If you look at Anthem, EA releases absolute garbage, and they should actually hold back, and they don't. So for those two titles, I wonder whether actually it's a good thing. But we shall see. No actual date for that one, but it is due out this year. Rattling through the Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yep.
17th of March. Upcoming action-adventure game developed by Respawn Entertainment and EA. Scheduled for release on latest gen, so not old gen sadly, on the 17th of March. But that one already looks very good.
Yeah.
Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
PS5 exclusive, probably fall or Christmas. They haven't confirmed the date. We see Peter and Miles team up with their respective powers. And they do have very different powers. So Miles has his Venom powers along with the usual stuff. And Peter obviously is Spider-Man. And they also tease the alien symbiote of Venom, who's going to be making an appearance. Apparently it's going to be a larger New York with more boroughs added. It's going to be bonkers.
Oh, good stuff.
I think that one they haven't delayed it in as much as they haven't confirmed a release date, and now they have, which means there's some comfort that actually it's near enough ready. So I'm really looking forward to that. I mentioned this last year again, Dan, Redfall.
Yeah.
Again, we're seeing a lot of things that I mentioned about last year. I picked them wrong, apparently. It's coming out this year. It's Xbox Series S and X and Windows 10 exclusive. It's an open world first person shooter. And again, you've got 4 playable characters with different unique abilities and backgrounds, and you fight vampires in and around a sleepy little town and village.
Yeah.
That looks a lot of fun. One last one before I get to some honorable mentions. So you've got the Wolf Among Us, 23 to be confirmed. Have you heard of the Wolf Among Us?
No.
I'm trying to think of the comic distributor. I want to say it might be an Image comic. It probably isn't. But anyway, it is based on a comic book. It was picked up by Telltale Games. They now went under.
Yeah.
Well, they went under, should I say, a couple of years ago. It's now been picked up by Ad Hoc Studio with former Telltale staff. As I say, it's episodic, so the model is it's maybe £7 or £8 per episode, and maybe it gets you about an hour and a half. And it's all basically quick triggered guides. So you press a button based on your actions. There's dialogue you can select. Depending on how you interact with the characters will have a different outcome. And it's all about fairy tale characters who are in disguise in the real world. And people don't know that they're actually living in the fairy tale world. And you got the number of different characters and their traits. It's an interesting concept, and the first one's really, really good. Honorable mentions, so you got Avatar Frontiers of Pandora, which is a massive open world game based on
the films.
The films.
Yeah.
You've got Star Trek Resurgence, which is there's not often Star Trek games come along, so that's one I'm looking out for. And you've got a PS5 exclusive, which is Forspoken, which is about I guess a modern age individual being transported to a magical realm, and they're traversing using spells. It looks very polished and very smart. So that has divided the internet. I think it's going to be a great title, but we shall wait and see. And that's due out in just a couple of weeks. The other niche thing I want to talk about, Dan, is VR. New to most anticipated. Not many people have got VR, but I did want to talk about it very quickly because I do have it, and there are some cool stuff on there for people that are on the fence and maybe want to buy it, and this might help them. I don't want to tell people to spend money in the cost of living crisis, but if you're near to investing, there are some really cool titles coming up. I've got 3 of them. Wanderer, which has already been out on PlayStation 5 and on Steam VR. The premise is you travel back through the ages to change the course of history and prevent the collapse of a civilization. It's 2061, and the world as we know it lies in ruin. But what if there was a way to rewrite the events of the past to reshape the future? And what do you do effectively is you go back to certain parts of history. So you go back to Woodstock, you go to the moon landing, you go to the Mayan civilization, and you do certain things, puzzles, interact with the inhabitants of the time, and you collect certain artifacts that when you take back to your time back in the 2060s, you will hopefully build something or have the knowledge to be able to save the world. and it looks wonderful. So I'm hoping it's going to be on the Quest 2, which I guess is one of the most cheapest and most accessible ways to get VR, and it looks phenomenal. I have reached out to developers for a second time in as many years, but it looks like it might be on VR coming around to Quest 2 shortly. You've got Pirates VR, Jolly Roger, that's due April this year. The premise is, as a pirate, you find yourself stranded on a Caribbean island that's full of mysteries and secrets just waiting to be solved. Just be aware of the challenges, conundrums and traps that frequently accompany hidden wealth. The game boasts a vast world, complete with a dense forest, climbable high cliffs, secret cave passageways and mysterious oceanic depths. You won't be travelling alone because you'll have a perceptive and humorous pout companion with you, and you'll encounter some hostile ghost and zombie pirates who've been banished to the island's dungeons in addition to the two of you. It looks pretty good. And the last one is the Call of the Sea VR, which apparently is sometime 2023. The premise is, when Nora's husband goes out on an expedition and is never heard from again, she takes it upon herself to go to the South Pacific to find out what has become of her love. This VR adaptation of the popular PC adventure mystery game sets players in the 1930s on a lush island paradise to solve, puzzle and unravel the mystery of what happened to Harry and his expedition. Other honourable mentions can be the Peaky Blinders, The King's Ransom. So you play as Cillian Murphy's character in Birmingham, kicking the shit out of people and shooting guns and doing legal things, which looks quite fun. You've got The Signifier, which is a VR adaptation of the tech noir mystery game on PC. And you've got Ghostbusters VR, Rise of the Ghost Lord. So if you want to don your overalls and start attacking ghosts with your ray guns, well, that's in the 1st of June this year. So there's some really cool titles coming up. I don't know if that whets anyone's appetite, but it surely does mine. And there's a lot to look forward to in the virtual reality world.
Beautiful.
That's it for gaming, Dan, for me. But you've got some music.
I do. Right, we're going to kick things off with Alex Melton with Southern Charm.
I have added this to my Apple Music, and he's slowly piecemeal releasing songs.
Yeah.
Have you seen that? And I'm loving it.
Yeah, I mean, if you're familiar with the name Alex Melton, then you probably spend a lot of time on YouTube, I do.
Or too much time on the old reels as well. It's on there too.
The great thing that I love about Alex Melton, he does release the odd sort of original song, but he'll take probably one of your favourite childhood songs and reinvent it.
Or in our instance, I guess, teen pop punk banger.
Yeah.
Into a country style, really, isn't he?
Yeah, he can go both ways. So he'll take a country song and make it pop punk, or he'll take a pop punk song and make it country. He's just clever.
Yeah. So
clever. He worked on Southern Charm with 4 Year Strong's Alan Day. And it's due out January 27th, so not too long. So a little bit of a synopsis. An innovative musician crossing his loves for pop punk, hardcore and country music to interpret songs from each world in completely new ways. He is absolutely brilliant, which is why Pure Noise Records went and signed him. And now they are putting together and putting out his debut full-length album.
And what I'll say is, I mean, Dan, you got me into Alex Melton, because I think he did some NFG stuff or some other stuff.
He did a country version of My Friends Over You, and it's just phenomenal.
It's very good.
In fact, it got a hit from Newfound Glory on YouTube.
Did it?
He's starting to get... In fact, he did a country cover of A Day to Remember song. Mm-hmm. And not long before Christmas, he went on stage with them to do a cover of that cover.
Wow. Which
is brilliant. So he's starting to get up there now.
Well, he's done lots of other emo tracks from times past. And I think my favourite, and it's really odd to say out loud, but hey, whatever. He does a cover, really good kind of soft pop punk version of Taylor Swift's Love Song. Yeah. And it's one of my favourites. It's so good. I prefer it more than Taylor's original.
It's funny you say that. There's a few songs that he's reinvented. You know, he's basically rewriting our childhood. Yeah. Essentially. He's done some covers where I've been like, yeah, do you know what? I prefer it to the original.
100%.
He did a really good Teenage Dirtbag by Wheatus.
Yeah,
where he sped it up, made it into a pop song. pop punk song. He did Everlong by Foo Fighters with halftime drums, which you think that shouldn't work, but then becomes an emo anthem instead of a rock anthem.
And he does all the instruments himself. So he plays the drums, does the bass, he does the lead guitar, he does the vocals, and he'll cut it and edit it, and he'll do all the video, and it's... The guy puts in hard graft. I don't know how he can afford to do it, but he's making it work, and it's great. It's so good to watch and to listen to.
He's got a friend now on board to help him with all this stuff. So if you follow him on Instagram, you'll get like some quirky videos every week when he releases a YouTube video, and it's those two having a conversation. But yeah, no, he's phenomenal. I can't recommend him enough. Check him out. He did a really good cover of a Harry Styles song as well before Christmas.
Do you like a bit of Harry Styles?
I don't want to say I'm not a fan. Obviously,
Harry's House is a brilliant album.
I obviously don't listen to enough Harry Styles, but the song that he covered, like I actually like that song anyway. I can't remember what it was. You know, it's not the same as it was.
As it was?
Yeah, that's the one. I mean, I like the Harry Styles song, but the Alex Melton version's probably more up my street.
Yeah.
It is more slowed down. You know, he's sort of half-time the drums and made it a bit more atmospheric.
Oh, he's great. Yeah, it's a really good recommendation, Dan. It's a great artist.
Go out there, check him out.
Do it.
Next up, we've got Newfound Glory with their acoustic album, Make the Most of It. Release date for this one is, again, not far away, January the 20th. The last song we heard from Newfound Glory was Forever and Ever Times Infinity, which was 2020, which I think, unfortunately, got released sort of mid-pandemic. So it didn't quite get the touring or the...
Under the radar.
Yeah, so it sort of slipped off. I don't think it was that good anyway. I thought their album from 2017 was better.
Right.
But the thing that Newfound Glory don't really do, they don't really push the bow like other bands. They don't sort of chop it up and go, do you know, we'll do something different this time. But it's fine. It's Newfound Glory. And plus, this is an acoustic album.
They do good acoustic.
They got some originals, and they're also going to be doing some acoustic covers as well, so keep your eyes peeled for that one. Now, this is an interesting one. This is a bit of left field from me, because I'm not a massive fan, but I'm intrigued, because their last album was released in 2017, After Laughter. This is Paramore with This Is Why.
Yeah. I'm in the same bucket as you. And actually, I've gone back to their original stuff, and there are some bangers, actually. I don't know whether something's happened with a similar age, Dan, and we've come to appreciate certain music at a similar time, but yeah, I'm on board with some Paramore stuff now.
They retired Misery Business for a while as well.
They did.
The song, because I think it had a certain word in it, which she didn't like in the end.
Right.
But they've brought it back. But when they play it live, she stops at the point where this word's supposed to come in, but the crowd sings it, and then she'll be like, yeah. And then she mocks the crowd for saying it.
Okay.
But, you know, whatevs. So, yeah, I'm intrigued. I will probably check that one out. This is another left field one. We haven't heard from these guys since 2010.
They've reformed, haven't they?
They've reformed. You know what I'm talking about.
I can see your notes.
My Chemical Romance.
Yeah.
Release date to be announced. But their last album was Danger Days, The True Lives of the Fabulous Killjoys, which was 2010. So a long time. It's been 12 years. I'm always intrigued to see what bands do when they've been out for so long.
Gerard Way, isn't it?
Yes. I mean, he was obviously been busy doing...
Comics,
and the Netflix adaptation.
Oh, right.
What was it called? We've talked about it before. The Umbrella Academy.
Oh, of course. He was
one of the writers for that, yeah. So he's been busy. But yeah, we'll see what they've got up their sleeve. I'm intrigued. We'll see what happens. And of course, the last one, obviously the big one, Blink-182.
Indeed.
And release date for this is to be announced. But of course, the last album was 9 in 2019 with the Dark Lord himself, M.A.S.K. But of course, Tom DeLonge has returned. And they've released a single along with that announcement, which was Edging.
And we're hoping for more music.
What do you think of Edging as a single?
It's okay. It's got some aspects of familiarity and something a little bit new. I don't mind it.
It's just a bit safe, isn't it?
Yeah.
Definitely safe.
And I think, but I mean, is that a bad thing though, Dan? Given that they haven't been that lineup for a while, and there's been lots of controversy, and Tom's been fighting aliens and government agencies.
Yeah. Angels and Airwaves as well, which he churned out Life Forms in 2021. Phenomenal album. Every song is so different. Again, it's an album I'd recommend.
Is Safe okay to announce that they're back together and then kind of hit you with double barrels later on when the album's released and you're more used to it? I don't know.
I mean, Mark Hoppus joked that it wouldn't be Blink-182 without Tom, but of course they would have to kick him out of the band every few years. And Tom, again, this is typical Tom DeLonge, very bold, and he said, this is the best music we've ever written. But he says that with every album.
Yeah.
But we'll have to wait and see. But they have been recording together as a band, which is positive.
Beautiful.
Given Neighbourhoods back in 2011, you can tell it's a very disjointed album because they were doing it from their own separate locations. Whereas this time they're now coming together, and I think the music they'll probably churn out will be a lot better.
Right.
Not knocking Neighbourhoods, I think it's a good album. A lot of Blink fans will probably tell you otherwise, but
this one hopefully is a bit more cohesive.
Definitely. But that rounds up for the music section this year. It's on to Listener. So, on to the Listener. First up, we got Mikey.
Oh, right, yeah.
We've got quite a lot here from Mikey. He's looking forward to Mandalorian.
Yep.
Vikings Valhalla.
I've seen it advertised.
Yeah. I watched seasons 1 and 2. Very gritty. Very gory.
I don't think I got through season 1 and wanted to, but I think other things came out. I think it was Disney Plus launch because I was slow to the party. But yeah, I want to get back into Vikings. It looks really good.
Maybe the film last instalment of The Last Kingdom.
Oh, yeah.
But unannounced currently for the film and TV anticipation. Oppenheimer also looks interesting, as I've heard there's another World War I based movie coming.
Cillian Murphy is Oppenheimer himself.
Napoleon is an Apple TV series that I'd probably watch if I could as well. Proper history nerd aren't in it. So anyone unfamiliar probably won't know, but Mikey is my brother.
There you go.
He is a proper history buff. He knows his stuff. He's a heck of a lot smarter than I am. Ain't got much on the games front following Ashes of Creation, and that's about it. But doubt it's coming 2023. Music, Pendulum, Prodigy. That's it. Prodigy.
Yep.
Put my teeth in.
I do.
And probably unknown Camo and Crooked. And he's put in brackets underrated. That's about it. But I'm probably quite odd and specific in my choices across all genres of entertainment.
At least he knows what he likes.
But aren't we all?
Yeah.
I mean, you've listened to my music tastes. It's all sort of very much under that same umbrella. So. He also adds, new Pendulum sounds glorious, by the way. And new Prodigy is big news, as it's going to be the first release after Keith passed.
Yeah.
And of course, Keith sadly passed away, what was it, 2019?
Yeah, I think so.
Sadly took his own life. I, as an advocate of mental health, if you ever do feel sort of quite low, please talk to someone. That's all I can add. I'm sure there's some good people out there that you can talk to, some good charities. Samaritans is a good one.
It shouldn't be underrated in terms of the power of just speaking to even someone that you don't know. You don't have to speak to someone that you know. But yeah, it's always good just to sound things out, because sometimes it just feels infinitely better to get those things said out loud in outside of your head. Yeah,
for sure. Let's say Samaritans, if you're in the UK, is a good one. One of my friends used to work for him and had some, phenomenal stories. Some actually quite some sad ones, but still a horrible stigma around mental health these days, I think, Alex.
Yeah, I think, and this affects all walks of life. I think there's still a stigma with males and not being able to speak, but it affects anyone of all ages, of all backgrounds, of all types, faiths, ethnicities, social backgrounds. So it's not just a particular part of society.
I think it's talked a lot more these days, mental health, and so that's certainly a lot better than, when we were growing up.
It wasn't a thing.
To our teens and so
wasn't a thing. You were down, well, we put a smile on your face and buck your ideas up was the answer. It wasn't, or here's some drugs.
Yeah.
It wasn't talked about, wasn't understood, it wasn't fixed. Not everything can be fixed, mind, but it wasn't really addressed, is probably the better term.
Yeah.
Whereas these days we have a better understanding, as you say. It's not great, but it's a lot better than what it was before.
Yeah, I'm certainly not talking about this as an expert either, but there is help out there.
Indeed.
Next up, we got Claire. She says, "I still haven't seen Black Panther: Wakanda Forever."
What?
So that even though it came out in 22, is that allowed?
Well, it is going to be released on Disney Plus in a couple of weeks' time.
February 1st, so not long. So yes, that does count, Claire. So it's fine.
It does.
Next up, we've got our friend Dan. He says, "Can't wait for the next season of Ted Lasso. And of course, my guilty pleasure, Love Island."
That's a dirty word on this, or dirty title on this channel.
It's appeared on What Grinds Our Gears.
It does.
Get in the sea.
Horrible stuff.
Not you, Dan. I'll let you off in this case because you've actually got some other good recommendations.
Oh, right, yeah.
Most anticipated films for me are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Mm-hmm.
I have tissues at the ready, and the latest instalment of Scream.
Oh, right, okay.
You're into your horror genre, aren't you?
A little bit. I think Jenna Ortega, is she in this one? Or she's made the jump into not just Wednesday on Netflix, but into horror films. Yeah, I'm not close enough to Scream. It has been rebooted to some extent for a modern audience. But yeah, big one out soon.
And on the game side, he says, "I'm looking forward to 2 games due to come out next year."
Just 2?
Or this year, yeah. So again, I think these made 2021's most anticipated. One you've already mentioned, Hogwarts Legacy.
Yeah.
Finally, the Harry Potter world game we've been waiting 20 years for. I hope I am put in Hufflepuff.
Well, Daniel, or Dan, you can go on to Portkey Games and actually be sorted before you start the game.
Interesting.
You still go through the ceremony, so you're not missing any content. It's just when you sit down and the hat starts talking to you, instead of you doing, I guess, a number of button presses or filling out a survey in the game, you do it beforehand. And you can do it, and I've done it. So I can't remember. It's bad of me. I can't remember what.
Are you going to go in Gryffindor?
No, because they ask you a number of different. I think you could probably force it if you wanted to, but no, it's based on a number of different scenario tests. It's like those SAT tests.
Oh yeah.
And you kind of fill it out, and it says, "Oh, you're this or you're that."
Ravenclaw?
No.
Hufflepuff?
No. Wasn't Slytherin. Must be Ravenclaw then.
Yeah.
I'm saying no. I think it was Ravenclaw. And yeah, you can get sorted beforehand. So it's open now. And then carries over if you use the same account and log in, or you link it into your WB account when you log in and play the game. So yeah, you don't have to wait, Dan.
No. And lastly, Starfield, the next massive RPG by Bethesda. I plan on living out my Firefly fantasies. He's put a little love heart emoji.
Long time coming for that one too.
Next up, we got Zach. He says, "I'm looking forward to the last Expanse book." So, we've got a book recommendation. I know it was out last year, but I got all the others in softback. Didn't want to ruin the look.
The look, yeah. Well, this is the thing. So hardback books tend to come out first and more expensive, and then the softback, I guess, for the collection, you don't want to look odd in your collection, book collection, do you?
I'm looking forward to more Wednesday. Probably my favourite thing I've seen for a few years. I hope they are doing a second season.
Confirmed.
It is confirmed. I know there was fears that Netflix might lose the second season, but it has it's been confirmed.
Paid big dollar.
And that's what happens when you pay big dollar. You keep it, and it looks whether we get it this year or not, I don't know. Could be next year.
I mean, if they're quick about it and pull their socks up. I mean, there's not an awful lot of CGI. It's then just writing and the logistics. You might be able to get it out by Halloween. It'd be a hard push, but you could do it. I don't know how much post would be needed, but it's just set design and script work.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed, we'll see.
Fingers crossed. Gaming side, he says, on the topic podcast Fighter. I mean, of course, we've offered a few people out for fights recently.
Oh, right.
You more so with Gemma.
We'll
talk about in a minute.
Yeah, well, and yeah. I don't have personal beef. but these things do happen.
Or because Die Hard isn't a Christmas film, apparently.
Well, no, obviously it is. And there's a bonus, no doubt there's a bonus fight where if you do a button press, like a cheat code, you can be Dan fighting a bunch of Cub Scouts outside the pub.
Congratulations, Zach, by the way. Well, not him, his significant other is due twins this year.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Great news. And more tracks and stuff to do in Gran Turismo 7.
Okay, very good.
Next up, we got Chris. He says, I want to see if She-Hulk gets the axe or not. And I think it has been confirmed there isn't going to be a season 2.
Not as yet.
Not yet, anyway, but whether we see what's her name? Jennifer Walters reappear in the MCU, I have no doubts.
Yeah.
No doubts.
Yeah, the character will be perhaps in other programmes. We'll wait and see. Depends if I guess the audience are looking for it. I don't know what the readership looks like. Very recently, just on a slight tangent, but this explains some of the reasons why shows are cancelled. Netflix, apparently, under most of the other metrics that they capture for viewership, they are particularly interested in those series where viewers watch all of the series. So it's not just about how quickly you get through it, but actually whether you see it all. And if you see it all, and it's a slow burn, but you eventually get to it, it's the completion rate they care about. Yeah. It's not just about how quickly you watch it or anything like that. So if you do back to back and you burn through it, great. But actually, it's about the completion. And some of those programs where a lot of people have said, "Why have you axed it?" It's because a lot of people have got through the first couple of episodes and gone, "Oh well, I'll just switch and I'll watch something else." They haven't finished it. I'm not saying they're to blame, by the way, but at the end of the day, it is about money. And the numbers don't illustrate that these people are actually seeing it through to the end. And they might have gone, "Oh, I'll just pick this up later." Well, great, you can watch it later, but there won't be a follow-up season because you never finished it in time for them to be able to get the green light for the funding. So
it would explain why things like Cobra Kai are so successful, because I would smash through the 10 episodes in 2-3 days.
The completion rate's a lot higher, yeah. And that's just something to bear in mind. If you love that TV show enough, watch it all. Don't hang around, because Netflix may not renew it.
So it's like your local pub, use it or lose it.
Sadly. But this is the challenge. Even we've both said we've got a back catalogue of things to watch. How do you get there quick enough, and what do you prioritise? It's a difficult one, but yes, let's see if She-Hulk actually makes a comeback.
And last up, we've got Gemma. She, your nemesis, qualifying and never having to write an essay again. So a little bit of
fingers crossed
backstory. So Gemma and myself were part of the Bride Tribe.
Yep.
Kelly's wedding a couple of years ago. Gemma is training to be a social worker.
Amazing.
Fantastic. And I said, I enjoy a left field answer. And she said, literally, the only thing I'm really looking forward to, we are seeing Arctic Monkeys, and that'll be cool.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah.
Bit of live music.
Gemma, you'll be fine. You're going to smash it. I have every faith. And you're going to do fantastic in your next career. So
a great career choice too.
Definitely. Going to help a lot of young people, without a doubt.
Indeed.
Scary job, though.
Yeah, not for everyone, but for those who do it are particular gems in society. So a very worthy role indeed.
So Gemma, good luck.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
And that wraps up for the listeners.
It does. Really interesting, varied, and busy year ahead of us. I'm really looking forward to it. I mean, let's see if we, hopefully we do another one next year. We don't get cancelled or we get around to it. See how many of the things actually we want to do this year or want to see or to enjoy, whether we actually get the chance or whether it's pushed into 24.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird saying it out loud, but it always is, I guess, when you talk about a new year. But yeah, let's see whether the challenges we've had in the last couple of years in entertainment is still around this year.
I've got a question for you before we go into what's next, etc.
Yeah.
What are you most anticipating for the podcast this year?
It's going to be a challenge, but I want to at least get a couple more interviews under our belt.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have reached out to one or two in recent times. We won't say who because we don't want to jinx it of whatever term you want to use, and it may be that it's still not their cup of tea, so it may not come off. But I like a couple. I'm not going to say this year we're going to be able to interview everyone in Portsmouth and build a massive back catalogue of interviews like perhaps we did in 2020. But I want one or two, I think, to dip our toe back into the creative series. I think that's really good fun. And plenty more of the good stuff. Rabbit holes.
Yeah.
And
we love a rabbit hole.
Yeah, and I think I really like them because we research and we can go down so many different ways and paths, and some of them are really, really odd, and research is really fun. And because we don't talk about our notes really ever, I don't think we ever do, we're learning as we talk.
Yeah.
And I think that's really good fun as well. So if anyone does have any rabbit hole recommendations, why not?
Yeah, do it. I mean, we've had a few over the years. Conspiracy theories, we've done 2 episodes. Mandela Effect. Urban legends. It's just been... There's some crazy stuff out there. Halloween episodes are always good.
That's always a good one, yeah. One last thing I'll say before perhaps I'll pass over to you, Dan. I want to do a YouTube episode.
Okay. We
have the means, or at least the studio space. We can use CHR while I do my Monday night request show. So we have the space, recording equipment. We just need to think about how we film it. But that might be an interesting project. So I haven't spoken to you about that, but say there's a look of fear and surprise in your face. But I think that might be quite cool to do something different. We, of course, do have YouTube, and we are slowly but surely uploading all of our back catalogue on Throwback Thursdays. And currently, at the time of recording, we're up to date as of May. So we've still got some time to go, but I think once May comes along, what else do we do for that platform?
Yeah.
And we haven't done video yet.
No, we haven't.
Something to think about.
We don't really show our faces much on some of our platforms either.
Might be a good idea, given some of the opinions we share and we voice. But how about you, Dan? What do you reckon for this year?
Hopefully some more interviews, like you say. I've got an idea of people we can approach. So I'm quite connected in that sense. It's more people that my other half knows. But we'll see. Okay. I say it'll be something for us to sit down with a beer and get our heads around what's going to be for 2023. We don't really do anything like this, and I think now we're sort of approaching maybe bigger and better things. It's probably worth sitting down. Well, I'm not going to bring pen and paper because we know what happens when I bring pen and paper. Bring the alcohol, bring the tablet, and we'll make notes and stuff and sort of share ideas. And more on the go episodes.
Yeah,
I do enjoy on the go episodes, Joe. And from Wakanda Forever, where we walked to the cinema, watched the film, and walked back and did the second half of the episode where we're probably just both blubbering on the streets of Old Portsmouth. Yeah,
we're emotional messes. Yeah, it was really good. Yeah,
so look forward to more of those.
Yeah, it's a good shout.
Fingers crossed. So it's a busy year, for looking at most anticipated. Whether we can churn all of that out or not, I don't know. We'll see.
We'll do our hardest.
We'll do our best. I mean, this could be our biggest year since 2019.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Good stuff.
But
what have we got coming up in the next couple of episodes, do you think, Dan?
Well, we put out 4 episodes to our listeners on a poll on Instagram. So most votes was for favourite computer game bosses.
Ooh.
Very, very niche if you're into your gaming / retro gaming. So we want to know, what is your favourite boss that you've come up against in your favourite computer game?
Which are the ones which you've thrown your computer against? Thrown your could have done your controller against the wall and smashed it to bits because you've been frustrated or you've been outsmarted by the AI. There's been plenty of times where I've nearly crushed a Nintendo 64 controller in my hands because I've lost out to a boss fight in the final round.
Oh, I'm sure I've slung controllers around when I was a teenager. And I'm sure we'll talk about it. So, should we do favourite boss and least favourite bosses? Like them all most frustrating?
All bosses.
All bosses,
Why not?
Let's just talk about it.
Yeah.
And then, of course, next up after that will be plot holes in film and TV. So
there's plenty.
I'm looking forward to that because that's another rabbit hole, right?
Yeah.
That's a rabbit hole on its own. Franchise killers. So we're going to talk about things that have killed a franchise. Notable one on my mind is X-Men.
Fantastic Beasts.
So
There's plenty of films and franchises which actually should have really done very well, and they bombed because they were shite.
And then it will be things that you would love to watch again for the first time. So with fresh eyes. So that's going to be a good one.
Be really good.
But yeah, so because you voted for it, it got the most votes. Favourite computer boss games. Computer
bosses.
Yeah.
Computer game bosses.
Yeah. Thanks, Alex. Thank you for helping me recover there.
Anything and all to do with that. So yeah, get in contact. Let us know what's frustrated you, what you enjoyed. All things final stage battles on your favourite titles. We have got 2 previous computer game episodes on.
Yes, there was an early one in 2018 where we talked about our favourite computer games.
Our first episodes on the weekly roundup.
And then we did one last year. On favourite computer games again.
Yeah, volume 1. Yeah.
Can't really remember. I mean, they're both very good episodes. Very good.
Lots of listening interaction. So yeah, get in contact and let us know.
And if you want to get in contact, we are on @OnTheTopicPod, which is for Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. I don't really use TikTok that much. I probably should use it a little bit more. But
it's there.
Come get involved. It is there. We've got email, which is onthetopicpodcast@gmail.com. And Alex, we've got our YouTube and WordPress.
Yes, YouTube, as I mentioned before, we are uploading all our back catalogue on Throwback Thursday, so go have a look and listen, subscribe and follow us on there. And then we've got our website, ontopicpodcast.wordpress.com. Go have a look, it's our website. Our ugly mugs are on there, so if you don't want to wait for our pilot video episode that we may or may not do this year, then you can see us in the flesh, warts and all, on the website. Read our bios. You can peruse and see our affiliate websites, supporter, partner, Morbid and Mundane. So go visit Joey's Etsy site through there, and you can listen and stream. If you don't have a podcast platform of preference, then you can listen to all of our episodes and back catalogues on there as well. So yeah, go give it a look, go give it a listen, subscribe. We've got a newsletter where you can be notified when a new episode is released.
And you should be liking and subscribing on whatever your favourite podcast platform is anyway, because then you will get notified when a new episode drops.
Yes, please.
And that wraps up for our annual Most Anticipated. I'm quite excited. I'm looking forward to 2023. I'm absolutely buzzing. I've been Dan.
And I'm similarly optimistic, looking forward to the next 12 months. I'm Alex.
And we'll see you next time.